Hi, this is Lillian. I'm here with April Love. Today, I'd like to know about winter horse care since winter's coming. It's right around the corner.
Right. And a friend of mine that I just stayed with in California has adopted my 27-year-old horse, Tiki. And she's like, do you think I should blanket him at night? What should I do? He's older. And I was like, look at your temperatures. If a horse has to shiver to stay warm, you are going to be burning extra calories. So with the price of hays and the price of grains, do you want to find a blanket for nighttime that helps to keep them warm and take it off during the day? Some people can't be doing that, or they're boarding out, or it's what kind of situation are we in? But if you can keep them a little bit warmer at night, like when it drops below, I'd say like 45 degrees, that's really great. So they're not having to burn so many calories to stay warm. The other thing is not drinking freezing cold water. So I remember up in cool California, the elevation was only 1,700 feet, but we'd get an inch or two of ice on the top of the water trough, and the horses got to break through that. And ages ago, I used to just break it with a rock or something and try to get my hands in there and scoop out the ice. And oh my God, that was so uncomfortable. When you have 14 horses in different pens and you have to do that on each one. I had big barrels with automatic, floats and everything. So I'd tie a piece of baling twine to the outside somewhere, and I'd put it down in the water trough. And when it froze in the morning, I could just lift the whole frozen ice out with the baling twine frozen in the middle of it, and just crack it on the side of the barrel so all the ice fell off, and put the string back in. So I could, because you can break through the ice, but it's going to freeze faster if you leave the ice on top. Hurts their stomach, hurts their teeth. You go drink water that cold. They're not going to drink enough. And then we start to see winter colics because they're impacted because the water's too cold. So if you have any type of solar or electric, I highly recommend the plug-in water heaters to at least keep the water at like 45 degrees, 50 degrees for the horses to drink. A little bit of electrolytes or a pinch of salt in a warm mash. If you're feeding them a warm mash, you can do shredded beet pulp without molasses, Timothy hay pellets, something that's already like pre-digested, and warm water. It'll soak up the water and you'll get more water in your intestines. We'd always feed big mashes before we go for 20 or 30 mile training rides or 50-mile endurance races to get more water in the intestines. These winter impacted colics is they're just chewing hay and only drinking half the water that they should. Electrolytes, I like the Dynamite Dynaspark. You can put a little bit on the hay or in the mash. It's an organic molasses base. It detoxifies them. They absolutely love it. You could put a drop or two in water. It'll just make it smell better so that they drink more. You can just do that a couple of times a week. They need a little bit of salt coming in, even though they're not sweating as much, to make them thirsty and to keep the intestines running. When a horse is colicking from this, some of my clients have gotten a big syringe with Epsom salt, because if you see the side of the container on Epsom salt, it says for constipation. Do a teaspoon in warm water and drink it down for people. So they'll either do Epsom salt or sea salt and syringe that to the horse if a colic is coming on, because things just aren't moving in the gut. And by osmosis, a saltier mixture in the tummy pulls water from the outer laying areas. That's why when you have horses on electrolytes, it gives them diarrhea or the runs, because of that salty mix. So in the wintertime, even though they're not sweating, you still want to keep some of that going to make sure that they're staying hydrated. And I know sometimes some people are in snow and ice and they're like, I can't even get a warm mash out to my horses before it's halfway frozen. So, sometimes you can do a plug-in kettle in the barn. Sometimes you can do something with solar. It's just going on Amazon or Jeffers and seeing, what can we do to get more warm water into our horses in really, really cold climates. When I was up in Washington, they were in mud all the time because it rained all the time. And, the hoofs are just rotting away. And if you pick the hoof and you put anything on it, you were just putting it back down in mud. And I was so desperate. I mixed up, I think it was like a 16-ounce pop top water bottle with just like a teaspoon of bleach. And while I hate to do that, I had to have something to kill the thrush and the bacteria when the horse's foot was going to go right back down into mud with urine and feces in it. So that's the only way I could keep the frogs from rotting away and the big cracks. So, because a lot of times in wintertime, the feet just really get ignored. So it's really important to keep that going and, check your temperatures if you're going to blanket the horse. Can you do, a hot mash? If you're juicing, the horses love the leftovers of the carrots and kale and anything that you're juicing in a mash as well. That's just an amazing form of vitamin C. My horses loved eating the cutie mandarin oranges. I just peel them and feed them some. It's a good form of vitamin C, especially in the winter. It helps. Your older horses are going to get stiff because they're not moving around as much. They might not want to lay down on the ground because it's so cold. So we have to keep our older horses moving so that frog is getting the pump up the legs to move the toxins, keep the circulation going. So it's all about how can we keep them healthy and support them through the winter when weather gets really bad. Thanksgiving's coming up, Christmas, everything, we get really busy. What's something I can do for my horse in 5 minutes? Because that's all the time I have today. So you can see more information about this. I wrote articles on winter care tips for horses, HolisticHorseWorks.com. We have a blog. You can go to my YouTube channel, Holistic Horseworks, or get my free ebook, HorseAcademy101.com. Please share that with your friends.